All right, we are live again. Hello, everyone, and a warm welcome to everyone at the Indie Football Podcast. We continue our build up to the Euro 2024 by having a close look at each and every group of four teams that have been participating in this edition of the Euros. So far, we've covered the first two groups with Group A and Group B, and today we will be covering Group C of the Euro 2024. And joining me in this particular episode of Eurovision with me is once again Piyush. Piyush, once again a warm welcome. Your first impression was so nice. I had to do another episode with you so that your appearance is double in the IFP podcast. Thankfully, this time there will be no one to take pot shots at you or take aim at you for controversial statements. So I think that is the perfect way to start. But before we get into a little bit, I mean, not only a little bit, a lot about Group C. A little bit of news that has come out is that Spain have gone ahead and announced their proper 26-man squad. And there have been some surprise omissions, with Kubarsi being one of them, and Marcus Llorente also not finding a place in the 26. So, I mean, obviously there are more, but I think these are the two main exclusions from that squad, which were quite surprising to me, given that Kubarsi had a very, very good season at Barca for a debutant and a teenager. And I think we already had this conversation in the previous stream while we were discussing about Group B, that Marcus Llorente being so positionally versatile and able to play all the positions in the outfield, that would have been a very interesting proposition to have. But I think De La Fuente has definitely had something else up his sleeve and has opted to not go for the both of them. So what are your first impressions on the squad? And do you think that both of them, the exclusion of both of these set players, were warranted or no?
Bhai, I don't know how to go for the impact player section. How do I go about that section in this video? Because आपने last time बोला था Orsolini is a player to watch out for, and even
Orsolini has been omitted. My God.
मतलब आपने Orsolini बोला, he has been omitted, and Priyanshu I said Marcos Llorente because of his athletic bias, but whatever. I also agreed because of his positional awareness, but like he has also been dropped. Kubarsi has been dropped. I know like De La Fuente के सर पे बहुत सारे players हैं, but I am not too clear as to how he wishes to go along with this squad and with this Euros.
Yeah, I mean, so I was actually hoping that Vivian would have been the exclusion.
Yeah,
Given that he was more of an unknown quality, but I think for some reason or the other, Vivian has been given an extended look, and it will be very, very interesting to see how things pan out. And I think we got one thing right, that Provedel would be the one who would be culled off.
Omitted, exactly.
Provedel was definitely one of them who was dropped out of the squad from the preliminaries.
Yep.
And obviously Orsolini, being a Spalletti player in his previous Napoli stint. Orsolini is the Bologna player. I'm sorry, I got it confused. It was Raspadori.
Orsolini
is Bologna. Orsolini is Bologna. Yeah. So that's my bad.
I was recalling if he played for Napoli ever. I think he did not. He was a Juventus player before this.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he hasn't. I got confused with Raspadori being the perfect Spalletti player. So
yeah.
I mean, obviously, very, very interesting changes. But I think let us go ahead and speak about the group that is in question, and that is Group C.
देखो omissions तो इस group में भी काफी सारे हैं, उन पर भी
and we will talk about that. There is फुर्सत में बात करेंगे इसके बारे में, विषय काफी लंबा है. And as you can see, I have come out all the way with my English colors to support the team that I love and cherish with the bottom of my heart.
The closest I could come to the rest that I have from an England team. The closest I could come. Sorry.
So let's give a brief lowdown. So the teams in this group are England, who've never won a Euros, 1992 Euros. Yes, that's
a good way to start.
Self-deprecating humor always works. Yeah. 1992 Euro champions Denmark, and last Euros semi-finalists. You have Serbia and you have Slovenia, who complete the form of this group. Now, four very, very different teams. Four teams which have very different play styles, very different philosophies. And while the talent is there in each and every team, I think if you have a first glance at this group, it is very very easy to decipher who's going to win this group just on first looks
Yeah,
alone. Not
absolutely.
talking anything about the squad makeup, anything about the qualities of the players, how the coaching style or whatever it is going to be. You just have a
Yeah,
look at it, and you can pretty easily put your money's worth on England being group winners.
yeah,
So
yeah.
looking at that group, I just want to know what are your first thoughts when you look at that group: England, Denmark, Slovenia, and Serbia. Four different teams, and not only in terms of their makeup, but also in terms of their European pedigree as well. Very
Yep.
very different teams in terms of style, in terms of philosophy, not only in footballing tag but culturally as well. So very good team mix out there. Your first thoughts?
I think by Group A, Group C, and Group E are sort of similar, wherein there is one big giant team in that group, and the rest of them can place themselves however they want. Even no one can probably predict their places rightly on the first go. But what makes this group different is the expectations that every team has on themselves. England has the expectation to win this. After this squad, I do not know how the expectations have been lowered, how much they have been lowered, or they have been risen, they have risen or whatever. Then you have Denmark, who have this tag of a dark horse, an unsung hero sort of a tag. Then you have the likes of Serbia, who have their veterans and their youngsters coming in together, but they're always trying something new with that, and uh, they are kind of a mixed bag, to be honest. And then there's Slovenia with their exuberance and their potential. Obviously, we have to talk about Sheshko when we talk about Slovenia. We talk about Oblak over the years, but there is another kid on the block to represent Slovenia worldwide. So if you look at them, there is a difference of expectation which makes this group different. Otherwise, it's just another group that is going to be dominated by a powerhouse.
Yeah, I mean, rightly said as well. I think we will be talking about each of these in depth and in detail. So I think it's going to be a very interesting group. Not only because of the depth that it has, but also because there are so many quality players to pick out from. And let us talk about the contender. Let us talk about the big dog in this group, and that is England. All right. So England have had a very comparatively successful what you say a successful run when it comes to international tournaments. They
Yeah,
finished fourth in the 2018 World Cup. They went all the way to the finals in the Euros, only to lose it on penalties. A defeat that still hurts me to this day, and a
yeah,
very brilliant performance in the 2022 World Cup, where we were just where there was just one penalty away from potentially going to the semi-finals of the World Cup, and
yeah,
matching defending champions France shot for shot in that quarterfinal. So while on one side you can say that this team has been performing very well when it comes to international tournaments, again there is that overbearing sense of expectation that whenever an England team is being announced and whenever an England team is being sent forth, they always expect something which is way beyond the realms of expectation.
yeah.
In Yeah, so this team in particular, we will speak about this, but what are your expectations for this England side? Because I think on paper, if you compare this team to the golden generation, I think this team stands out more. I think there is much more talent in this particular batch of players compared to that one.
Yeah,
No matter how high the pedigree was in that team, but in this particular team, there's just too much quality if you look all around. You have players who can
absolutely.
change. You have players who can change games at their whim and fancy as and when it's required. So looking at the team, we will talk about the exclusions, the inclusions in detail, but just having your first glance at the team, what are your thoughts on this England side? Do you think that they are one of the favorites and rightly so? Or do you think that, maybe France have a little bit too much, maybe Portugal have a little bit too much quality, or maybe who's the other favorite that I can put out there. Maybe Germany have a little bit too much quality for them. So
I know, Delwyn, why you have your worries. I know you have your worries, bhai. It's okay to have those worries in front of
no,
these
there is,
giant powerhouses.
and I will speak about each of my worries in proper
Yeah, yeah,
detail.
yeah.
So it's not like I am one of the I'm not. It's not like I'm those blind type of supporters saying that okay, it's definitely going to
Yeah,
come home. Nah, not that. I
exactly.
mean, very fair in my assumptions and my predictions when it comes to footballing discourses.
Italian
But
fans might disagree, though. Italian fans
uh,
might disagree.
I mean, I could not give a rat's ass about Italy and their fans. Let me please. So coming back to
There, there,
England,
there is,
your
there is the true England fan I was looking for.
yes, absolutely. So coming back to England, what are your thoughts looking at this team and where do you stand on their christening as the favorites in this tournament? One of the favorites in this tournament.
I would say you used a word there, that's talent. That obviously wins you games. Absolutely no doubt about it. But there is one thing that I see lacking in this team, which is experience and pedigree. Somewhat because of the exclusions and because of the players that have been left out, in my opinion, they are like very important players. And my question straight up to you would have been, Delvin bhai, second center back start कौन कर रहा है? Please, मुझे I have no clarity whatsoever on who the second centre back for England is going to be. So there are some defensive worries, but you have the likes of Kyle Walker who probably are going to calm it down. And then if you look up the pitch, there is just talent everywhere. I'm surprised to see Adam Wharton getting picked, which is again something which we can talk
Or
about in detail.
I I am actually happy that Adam Wharton has been picked. I am
Yeah,
very happy that Adam
I
Wharton
can
has
see
been
that.
picked.
I
Yes,
can see that.
it is.
I mean,
It.
the
I was
guy is
hoping.
known.
Yeah. Yes. It took 28 minutes. He had only 28 minutes in an England shirt, and you can see why he's so good.
Yeah, I mean, I've not seen the Bosnia game, but I have seen people rave about him, and I've seen him in a Crystal Palace shirt, and
Yes.
boy, he's good. He is composed on the ball, and I think there is a rightful reason why people are raving about this kid. And I don't know if he's above James Madison right now, or is Eze picked over him. I don't know. We can just talk about other choices later. But if I have a thorough glance through this team, if the ball reaches the midfield, there is going to be chaos on the opposition box. There is no questions about it. The likes of Bellingham, Rice, potentially Gordon or Saka or Foden on the wing. You have the arguably the best number 9 in the world in your team in Harry Kane. And with the comments of Haaland being a League Two striker now, Kane seems to be the number one in the world at this point. But I would say this team is too good to lose any game, but they just do somehow. I don't know how, they just do.
वैसे
All right. Ha,
डेविड
Parthiba, I
भाई
was just coming to you only. First of all, warm welcome. It's been a while, and I hope you are well and truly out of the pain, the despair, and the distress of Jurgen Klopp's departure. And I think that smile is just a facade. You're still hurting from the inside. So I got your answer. I got your answer with that regard. So my same question goes to you also. If you have a first look at that England squad, keeping away all the exclusions one side, only focusing on the team that has been picked. What are your first opinions and what are the first thoughts that come to your mind when you look at this England squad from top to bottom?
from a very top to bottom, if I actually can give this squad a rating on the basis of favoritism, I asked this question on the group a few days back that who would be your potential finalists. For me, it should be England versus France because on paper there are no teams better than this, right? These are like that good level squads. And then again, you have one thing which I believe that it's not only quality but it's also the mentality. All the players in the squad, like most of them, they have won something or they have played phenomenally good football this season. So the winning mentality continues. For example, be it Joe Bellingham, be it Trent, they have won something, so it stays there. Kyle Walker, those guys are always there. So that mentality as well. Plus, this team has been together for the interruption. And one more
Yeah.
thing is that if you see it in a way that, for example, the golden generation, they had a lot of internal troubles. These guys, they don't have that. I mean,
I guess Parthiv is unable to have a secure connection. Is your connection fine?
Yes, I'm really sorry. Like one of my friends was calling me.
All right.
So, so yes, so in this squad, for example, Bellingham, you could see like Madrid they still post pictures of fit trend. They'll go on vacation. Things like this. This means that there's a good atmosphere in the team, which is very important. And I feel this goes a long way down the road. So on paper, looking at it, this team is phenomenal, at least from my side. And I believe that this team, if the quality they have, if they can use it, if they can fully use it, this team will edge over France and win the Euros. But then again, there's a factor of Southgate as well. And I'll just put one question here because Delwyn भाई आप में से better England supporter आप में से ज़्यादा पता है कि एज अ मिडफील्ड ट्रियो इस टीम के पास ऑप्शंस है एज अ लिवरपूल फैन मेरे पास एक बायस रहेगा कि ट्रेंड को देन अगेन एक चीज जो इस पे मैं फोकस करूंगा कि राइस बेलिंगम ट्रेंड अगर मैं इन तीन को एक मिडफील्ड पे सेटअप करता हूँ राइट ऑन पेपर दिस इज अ गुड मिडफील्ड नाउ लेट्स से अगेंस्ट टीम्स लाइक मतलब बॉस्निया फिर जो मिड टियर टीम्स है मैं लो भी नहीं बोलूँगा जो मिड टियर टीम्स है जो हायर अपर टियर टीम्स है उनके अगेंस्ट ये मिडफील्ड बहुत सही खेलेगी बट देन अगेन अगर आप कोई मतलब टॉप टीम के अगेंस्ट खिला रहे हो फॉर एग्जांपल लेट्स से फ्रांस और फॉर एग्जांपल लेट्स से इवन इटली जहाँ पे वो मिडफील्ड जो है वो एक सुपीरियर ही मतलब एक स्ट्रॉन्ग मिडफील्ड है बेसिकली जिनके पास कंपोजर है दे कैन प्ले इट तो वहाँ पे आई फील कि ट्रेंड को खिलाना इज अ लिटिल बिट टू एग्रेसिव आई फील समवन लाइक कॉर्नर गैलेगर वुड बी बिकॉज देखिए बेलिंगम का मैं जितना भी उसके गेम की तारीफ करूँ ही स्टिल प्लेज अ वेरी फॉरवर्ड रो अ वेरी मतलब वो बहुत आगे खेलता है वो उतना मैं ट्रैक बैक वो करता है मैं नहीं बोलूँगा नहीं करता बट उतना नहीं करता सेम क्वेश्चन पे इफ आई पुट लेट्स से ट्रेंड वो करेगा बट वो अगर मैं वो पासिंग एस्पेक्ट के अलावा इफ लेट्स से प्लेयर्स लाइक थोराम अगेंस्ट हिम प्लेयर्स लाइक क्रिस्टांटे अगेंस्ट हिम पीपल हु आर लाइक ट्रेडिशनल मिडफील्डर जिसका काम ही है सिर्फ वो मिड लाइन को ब्लॉक करना तो आई फील ट्रेंड ऑन द फॉर द फर्स्ट 60 मिनट्स may be problematic but for the last 30 minutes if I bring him in for let's say someone like Conor Gallagher I feel he could be much more valuable to this team.
Now, see, so here's where I stand when it comes to the dynamic of this England squad. Okay, the beauty of this England squad is that there is so many choices to pick from. Like the Rice, Bellingham, and Trent midfield pairing is just one of those many combinations that England can pick, and that is the beauty of this squad. Now, what my assumption is that I think what Southgate is going to do is basically going to play with a back three. He's going to play with three at the back, with Walker being one of those central defenders. I think Mark Gahey is going to be the central defender. He's going to be the defender at the center, and or maybe John Stones could play at the center, and maybe Gahey is the one who plays left centre back. John Stones is another one of those players who can go ahead and have the midfield role
Delwyn भाई
that he's so well versed in
भाई,
playing.
एक चीज
मैं तो दोनों को आपको एक बार इंटरप्ट कर रहा अगेंस्ट दिस एज वेल कि इफ यू सी लाइक पोटेंशियली फॉर मी द बेटर स्क्वाड्स इज यूरोस हैज टू बी वन ऑफ लाइक फ्रॉम नेदरलैंड्स इटली एंड फ्रांस वहाँ का जो फ्रंट लाइन है मैं अगर एक बहुत ही बेसिकली बोलूँगा ना वो बहुत ही फास्ट फ्रंट लाइन है आप वहाँ से सिमंस बोलिए लैंग बोलिए यहाँ से आप किएजा और खमाका बोलिए यहाँ से आप एम्बापे और कोलो मुआनी बोलिए सो अगेंस्ट दैट काइंड ऑफ लाइक अ सिक्स मैन और जो लाइव आती है उनके अगेंस्ट मुझे जो पसंद लगता है कि एज अ टीम मिडफील्ड का फर्स्ट एक मिड लाइन ऑफ डिफेंस होना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होता है बिकॉज मैं जितने भी बोलूँगा ना काइल वॉकर लेट्स से इज द फास्टेस्ट राइट बैक ऑन द प्लेनेट बट स्टिल उसके पास जो बाकी जो डिफेंडर्स है दे आर स्टिल कंपैरेटिवली वेरी traditional.
That is why I want. That is why I personally want Walker to play as right centre back. Why? Because what I want is I want Walker to play right centre back. I want Stones to play the middle centre back, and I want Gahey to play as left centre back. That's your back three. Shaw and Trent. You have two wing backs who have this brilliant ability to drift inward and get into those inverted roles and play those pockets where you have give and goes with say like a Bellingham, or you have a give and go with Rice, or you have whoever plays the other two spots in that midfield, another particular these two guys, so they can have those inverted give and goes. Also, because these two guys are very excellent at those overlapping runs too, which means that
Hmm.
the opposition defenders will have a little more thinking to do.
नहीं
And
बट डेल्विन भाई आई थिंक एक चीज प्रॉब्लम पता है क्या होगा इफ यू गो फॉर अ थ्री एट द बैक फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल एक तो अगर आपको थ्री एट द बैक खेलना साउथ गेट के माइंड में है सो व्हाई इज नॉट समवन नॉट लाइक अ जैरेड ब्रैंडपेट नॉट इन दिस स्क्वाड बिकॉज ही वुड बी इन अ ट्रेमेंडस बॉल प्लेइंग सेंटर बैक एज ही इज फॉर एवर्टन ठीक है वही अगर मैं मिडफील्ड की बात करूं इफ यू वुड पुट समवन लाइक अ राइस और बेलिंगम प्रोबेबली आर योर टू फेवरेट्स टू स्टार्ट उसके आगे
yeah.
तो आप फ्रंट से ही खिलाओगे राइट देयर वुड बी
Mm.
लाइक फोर्डन और साका और गॉर्डन और समवन एल्स तो इम्बैलेंस क्रिएट हो जाएगा इन माय ओपिनियन अगर इफ यू हैव
Yeah, so go.
सो अगर आप थ्री एट द बैक खेलोगे ना आई थिंक थ्री एट द बैक खिला सकता है साउथ गेट आई एम नॉट डिसएग्रीइंग ऑन दैट बट प्रोबेबली फॉर द ग्रुप स्टेज गेम्स क्योंकि द लाइक्स ऑफ डेनमार्क एंड सर्बिया दे आर फिडलिंग विद द थ्री एट द बैक मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम्स उनके पास वैसी प्रोफाइल वाले सेंटर बैक्स भी हैं और उनके फुल बैक्स भी जो बॉम्बार्ड करते हैं बिकॉज ऑफ दैट आई थिंक दे आर गोइंग टू प्ले थ्री एट द बैक एंड टू कॉम्बैट दैट साउथ गेट माइट डू अ थ्री एट द बैक बट एसेंशियली उनको फोर बैक के साथ ही जाना चाहिए वरना मिडफील्ड में आई थिंक इम्बैलेंस क्रिएट हो जाएगा बिकॉज आई पर्सनली पार्थिव भाई अभी नहीं है तो मैं बोल सकता हूँ कि आई पर्सनली डोंट सी ट्रेंड स्टार्टिंग फॉर इंग्लैंड
Yep, same here. Same here. I don't.
ठीक है
And even if he does start, it will be only in those instances where England do play three at the back. Although, if
या
there is a back,
एग्जैक्टली
if there is a back four, I don't see Trent getting a start. And here's the thing.
या
So the thing with Southgate while he plays a three at the back is he wants one central defender who's very adept at long passes, and that is where Mark Gahey stands out. Maybe that could
या
be that could be the underlying thought process of not giving Gerard Branthwaite a look in further. And I think, to be on the safer side, I think it is better for Branthwaite's sake and for England's sake that he's not being picked for this particular tournament. I think get him a little bit more maturity, get him a little bit more well versed, because see, he's played in an Everton system where it has always been backs to the wall, defense first type of thing. Whereas
या
in tournament football, most of the times England won't be the one who will be doing the defending. So
yep that's
for
true
players like Branthwaite, वो जब कंसिस्टेंटली डिफेंड करते हैं तो वो फिर मसल मेमोरी हो जाता है दैट यू हैव टू गेट इनटू टैकल्स, यू हैव टू बी प्रो, वो एकदम प्रोएक्टिव वाली डिफेंडिंग होती है, तो मतलब पूरे
नहीं
टाइम
why
सब
I'm
कुछ करना.
नहीं Delwyn भाई I'm talking about Branthwaite for a reason कि if you've seen him in his PSV games before Everton's season he was absolutely brilliant in a new system for a 20-year-old centre back to adapt to a new different league and PSV played a very expansive system. Ruud van Nistelrooy का जो इकलौता सीजन था, भगवान जाने क्यों वो इकलौता ही सीजन था, but still it was a very expansive game that Jared Branthwaite played with PSV and with Everton जो कि भले ही बॉटम हाफ में लैंग्वेज कर रही है बट दे वर द फोर्थ और फिफ्थ बेस्ट डिफेंस इन द लीग. और मुझे ना नॉट जस्ट पर्सनली टुवर्ड्स लाइक गेही और समवन लाइक अ लुइस डंक हु हैज बीन पिक्ड who had a bang average season at Brighton in my opinion. I might be wrong but Brighton had a bang average season, so did Lewis Dunk. So मुझे थोड़ा वहां लगता है कि अगर Southgate has a three at the back sort of a plan then why are these profile of centre backs not being picked? बस मेरा वो point है.
That's a pretty fair assumption, and I think the only reason what I'm going is I think they still are. I don't think that he's still pretty sure with Branthwaite as one of those defenders that could go ahead and do the job that is required for him. So that is what I feel. I totally agree with the points that he's very adaptive and he will be able to do a job when called upon. But then again, I think Southgate is a type of manager that maybe has a particular idea up his sleeve or something like that. So I think that is there. But I think let's talk about the midfield options right now.
Sure.
You have Jude Bellingham, you have Conor Gallagher, you have Declan Rice, and then you have two of the most gifted young midfielders in that side with Kobe Mainoo and Adam Wharton in there. That midfield is filthy. That midfield is genuinely filthy, and it's a stark improvement from the previous Euros midfield of Calvin Phillips and Declan Rice. I mean, the jump up in quality is just absolutely insane. So whatever combination Southgate chooses to play, it is going to be a spectacle. I was having a conversation with Vishal in the IFP group itself, where we were talking about a potential Bellingham, Mainoo, and an Adam Wharton midfield trio.
I
That
mean, that
the
is too aggressive. Too aggressive.
but Mano and Wharton, both of them have those tendencies to,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the exuberance of youth. They can just keep running back and put in a shift. Even if Bellingham does ignore his defensive duties for a change, which most of the time he doesn't. But
Yeah,
on the off chance that he does, you have two young workhorses who are ready to run back and put in a shift for you. And
true, true, true.
they are, and the way that they play, it's you will be forgiven for thinking that these are two 27, 28-year-old veterans who have 10 years of footballing experience behind them. That is the way
Yeah.
both of them approach their games. So that is, like I said, the beauty of this England squad is that you can choose how n number of combinations with your midfield. So that is how
It is
gifted
all
this side
about
is.
na, it is all about studying the opponent's balance, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Someone like a Conor Gallagher has been picked because he can be handy in those situations where tactical nuances come into play and you require more physicality. You probably would bench someone like a Bellingham. I am a Real Madrid fan and I don't know how I'm saying this, but you might bench someone like a Bellingham for a Conor Gallagher just for that.
he's not getting benched.
I mean, I'm
No,
saying
no.
he's not getting benched ever. If he gets benched ever, Southgate is going to be slammed. He would be asked to give his resignation next day. I know that England fans are so hostile. But there is a reason why people like Jamie O'Hara are saying that this is the best England squad we've ever had. Not that I take him very seriously. But I agree that this England team is very good qualitatively. Or jo midfield hai, I mean, as you said, there are crazy good options. I don't know whether Trent or Conor Gallagher would see enough minutes, but like the options are crazy good.
I mean, Conor Gallagher can definitely do that job where you have 20 or 25 minutes left and you need
Yeah,
someone with that tremendous bundle of energy and non-stop
to
running
protect
that
the
is
lead.
required. Exactly. Or even
To
add to
protect
the
the
lead.
lead.
Or even add to the lead because Gallagher has that
Yeah, yeah,
creative spark in him and he can score goals. And he has shown that time and again in that Crystal Palace stint or even with his time at
absolutely.
Chelsea as well. So he can do that. Let's talk about the exclusions a bit. Uh,
Sure.
how how big of a blow is Harry Maguire's ouster from this England side? Because for the past three tournaments, the 2018, the 2022 World Cup, and the previous Euros, Maguire has been that defensive linchpin. And in all the three tournaments, I mean, let's not talk about 2018. Let's talk about the 2020 Euros and the 2022 World Cup. He's performed even better in an England shirt than he had performed
Yeah.
in a United shirt in both of those tournaments. So
Yes.
there are two ways of looking at this ouster. First way of looking at it is that Gareth Southgate has finally begun to shed the tag of the so-called favoritism that he shows in terms of his squad selection. With always we used to always see the likes of Maguire in there. We used to see the likes of Jordan Henderson in there, Calvin Phillips in there, Mason Mount in there. No matter how poor their form in the domestic seasons were, and somehow they still always used to find a place in that squad. But now that Maguire is gone, you could probably say that this is a fresh slate. But on the other hand, he's been your most consistent defender on an international scale. And some might even argue that England are much stronger defensively with Maguire on the pitch than
With
when he's
Maguire.
not. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what is your opinion on this Maguire ouster? Is this decision going to haunt England somewhere when they go deep into the tournament and when there will be an instance or a 5 or 10 minute spell where they will be defending for their lives or holding on to a lead? Is that particular instance going to be the that particular moment where England or maybe Southgate somewhere in his deep inner conscience think that,
Mhm.
okay, maybe Maguire would have been a huge focal point of difference at this particular instance. So where do you stand on that the Maguire ouster basically?
I think ever since Southgate announced this, he might have been thinking every second, hope this decision does not bite me in the ass. And this goes for all the seven exclusions. Harry Maguire's case, I fall in the latter bracket. I would say that this might haunt Southgate, but because of the pretext of the injuries that he has had this previous season with Manchester United, I think it seems fair to leave him out as of now. But when you see the international pedigree of Harry Maguire and the Harry Maguire is in an England shirt, you go and think no one has that calmness on the ball. If you give Stones a free flowing role like he's been given in Man City, If you gave him that sort of a profile, you need a defender who would have that confidence within himself that I am the leader of this backline, I am taking command. As of now, probably Lewis Dunk is the person that sticks out in that case because he has been a leader for Brighton at so many years. But
Or
if you
maybe
see every,
Kyle Walker
yeah,
up to a certain
exactly.
extent. Yeah.
Exactly. But if you think of every other person over there, it's a bit of an iffy spot in there because we've seen, obviously discussed over the years that Mark Gay should make the squad, Eze should make the squad. All of these people have been in and around conversations always, people who have been the cause of Southgate slander all these years. But it is an interesting decision, this one, and I fall into the latter category of maybe Southgate regrets this if England fumble at a latter stage because that is where they're going to fumble. I don't see England struggling their way into this group. I mean, I don't know what happens if he goes to a theatre back officially. I mean, at the end of it all, if he goes through a theatre back, there might be some problems, but I don't see him facing much difficulty getting out of this group. In the latter stages, though, decisions might be questioned if we see. मैं तो चाहता नहीं हूं ऐसा हो, but if we see some sort of a fumble at the back.
Do you think that this particular England squad that is selected, do you think Southgate is in that position where whichever 11 he picks for any game, he's going to be scrutinized left, right, and center, irrespective of whether that 11 is actually a good 11 on that given day or no? Because, like, again, the beautiful side of having such a fully stacked squad is that you get to pick quality in each and every position that you play in. But the flip side of this exact same thing is that you have to leave out players who are world class on their day as well.
Yes.
So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. So do you believe that Southgate is going to be criticized irrespective of whatever 11 he plays out? Not only because of the quality that he has at the disposal, but also because of that growing sense of resentment and discontent about the entire Gareth Southgate reign. Let's not forget that he's been the longest serving manager in fuck knows how many years for England now.
True.
He's been England's longest serving manager for a long time now, like since a long time. I genuinely cannot have any other manager in mind when I think about longevity in England colours. Gareth Southgate has been manager for 8.5 years now.
Yeah, I can imagine that. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So, do you think that he's just going to be criticized, come what may?
I think even Southgate knows at this point of time that if he does not deliver, he's going. He is leaving the England job. So he's going all vibes. That's how I see it. He's going all for vibes. तुम लोगों ने स्क्रूटिनाइज किया ना कि इस बंदे ने इतना अच्छा परफॉर्म किया और तुम इसे लेके नहीं गए, मैं इसे भी लेके आऊंगा, मैं इसे भी लेके आऊंगा, मैं इसे भी लेके आऊंगा. तुमने ऐसे बोला, मैं ऐसे लेके आ रहा हूँ. तुमने गेही बोला, मैं गेही लेके आ रहा हूँ. मैंने मिचेल को कैंप में बुलाया था, ठीक है. So he is basically giving a justification. देखो तुम लोगों ने जो बोला मैं वो कर रहा हूँ. अगर अब भी नहीं हुआ तो मेरा fault नहीं है, मैं छोड़ के चला जाऊंगा. That is one way of looking at it.
His contract as it is runs till December of this year, which means in all intents and purposes, this Euros could potentially be his last major tournament as England manager, and it could just be written in the stars, that this dude goes out with the Euros, man. And good lord,
possibly. But then there is the other side, which is obviously the side of the English media and the English fans who are going to slaughter him for not picking a Trent or an Adam Wharton or an Eze or someone like a Gordon.
I'm not really concerned about the Trent inclusion because Liverpool fans, as it is, think about themselves as Scouse, not English. So I don't give a rat's ass about Liverpool fan opinions when it comes to Trent Alexander-Arnold. They're the last people to talk about international football.
FYI, he's a Man United fan.
I'm talking from an England fan's perspective here. So when I talk about international football, I do not take club rivalries in. I do not factor them. So whenever there have been Liverpool representation, there has always been this sense of disinterest from the side of Liverpool fans who do not really relate themselves when it comes to England football as a whole. And they've always been very, very vocal about that Scouse, not English sort of representation to create that siege mentality of us against the world. They need to get out of their bubbles. It isn't the case.
I've not seen a rant video as of yet that why is Curtis Jones not being selected,
Yeah,
but
because
Adam Watkins is there.
that is exactly what I'm talking. That is exactly what I'm getting at. They are
Yeah.
not in the least interested about which of their English players get picked for the England squad. They're only concerned about the well-being and the fortunes of their club. Which is why,
Exactly.
if a Liverpool fan comes and tells me that this is not the right England squad, I might as well give a deaf ear to them, because I am not taking opinions of a Liverpool fan when it comes to international England football in as a whole. So yeah, but then again, like you said, the likes of Adam Wharton, maybe Anthony Gordon, all these guys, they've been. There is definitely going to be questions in there. So another
Yes.
exclusion that is there is Jack Grealish, and I think that was pretty expected. Not a good season, plagued by injuries. His worst season in terms of output when it comes to goals and assists as well. Do you think that his exclusion was justified?
I think there is another side to this as well, Darren, why? Because I think England fans, a lot of them judge a player's season based on the outputs, which I completely do not like. That the season is being judged by goals and assists alone. When you see, there is not a pure left winger in this England squad apart from Anthony Gordon. You've left out Marcus Rashford. You're
Yep.
relying on the factor that maybe Foden plays off the left. But Jack Grealish on his own was very important for City last season and has been very important for England as well because he's a proper left winger who can win you games. I see as of now he's not hitting form. That is true, but
He's hitting the
you're putting
borders.
three
That is why it's
strikers.
not. He's hitting the borders. That's why it's not hitting form.
I know. I mean, he's been hitting the bar way too much in the
Exactly.
recent past. I know, but like,
Which is
but then again, by you see, there are three strikers, and you could have dropped one of them, in my opinion. You
no,
could have.
because he Watkins can play through the left. He started his career as a
That
left winger.
probably becomes the justification or the reason why Jack Grealish was dropped. Precisely where I was coming at.
Yeah.
Watkins would play off the left, and as an option to Gordon, maybe who potentially would start in this England team. Oh my god! But yeah, that is what it is right now in the England setup. And I think we have some interesting comments about other teams as well. So
Yeah, we
uh,
will talk about,
it'll be
yes,
interesting.
guys, we will talk about the other teams. This is not only an England related stream, guys. The
Yeah,
other three teams, we will be giving equal attention to all the other three teams as well. Let's talk about the last thing to talk about the England side is the
yeah.
forward line. Do you think on paper the forward line of Harry Kane, Ivan Toney, and Ollie Watkins is the best in the Euros at the moment? Period. No other team can beat the depth of strikers that England has. Or do you have a different opinion on this?
I certainly have a different opinion because
You think there is a
England
better
players.
forward line? You think there's a
I
better
mean,
forward line in
the
this
crop of
Euros?
strikers. A crop of strikers, I think France has a good crop of strikers. If you look at the likes of Giroud, there's Randall Colomwani in there. I mean, if
Is Marcus
Mbappe plays
Thuram in
even,
there? Is Marcus Thuram in there?
I think so. Marcus Thuram is
I
also,
think he is there. Yeah.
yeah, he's very good. Then you have Portugal. I think Jota is overlooked massively. Oh, you obviously have Cristiano Ronaldo. I don't want to talk about Gonzalo Ramos after the Champions League semi-final, obviously. But ye wo, matlab, potentially these are good players. These are great strikers.
Got it.
England's for front three, though. I mean, obviously the clouting that's been given to England players because of the huge Premier League fan base is there. But I believe qualitatively as well, it's up there with the best in these Euros and best in the world potentially.
And here's the thing, Harry Kane. We all know that Harry Kane is equal parts goal provider as well as goal scorer. But here's the
Yes.
interesting thing: Ollie Watkins has had the most assists in this year's Premier League season than any other player as a
Yeah.
forward, and he's also gone ahead and the small matter of him scoring 19 goals as well. So there is so much of depth and so much of
Ollie Watkins is not
quality.
starting. Bhai, Ollie
I,
Watkins is not
I, I,
starting.
I have this dream. Okay, I have this dream where England just play 4-4-2 and just bully the fuck out of the opponents with Watkins playing that second striker behind Harry Kane, and both of them just playing off each other, man. If Harry Kane is there, it's Watkins
You would
who's
love,
facilitating.
I know, bhai, you would love
The
Fergie time at the Euros, but it's not happening.
No, it's not even Fergie time. I'm not even talking about Fergie time. I'm just talking about the synergies that will take place
Yeah,
in that entire squad. You have Watkins and Kane who will be very adept at playing off each other. Both of them have excellent hold up play, and we've seen that. Both of them have
yeah, yeah,
brilliant pass on them as well. Then you have Jude Bellingham, and any midfield you can play with him, whether it's Deckers you play with him, whether it's Wharton, whether it's Menu, whether it's Gallagher. You pick any combination, that combination is going to give you results on the pitch. And you have the width, whether you play Saka or you have the small matter of even Cole Palmer in there. How can you forget
yeah.
Cole Palmer? So you have so
Absolutely,
many
buddy.
options that you can pick. So there are a lot of ways that this team can line up, but then again it comes down to the fact that what Southgate thinks, and
Southgate picks.
whether the public think that what Southgate thinks is right, because that at the
That
end
is the
is
more
the
important agenda in this
exactly
space.
exactly
That is the more
exactly
important
yeah
agenda in this space.
yeah. So I think let's keep England at the side for 1 minute. Let us talk about the other teams now that are there in
Yeah.
this group, and
Before that,
let's
bhai,
talk.
I
Yeah,
would just like to know who's going to be your one impact player from England in this tournament with the most impact.
it's I know these both of these players are not going to get a lot of minutes, but I think it's definitely going to be either one of Adam Wharton or Kobe Menu. It's definitely
Wow.
going to be either one of them. Yes. Do you guys feel Madison should have been picked? So I think no. I think no, because of the fact that he has been injury prone, and even when he was picked in the previous edition of the World Cup, he was the only English player who was not played. So that goes to show the level of trust. I don't think that Gareth Southgate trusts matters in this particular instance.
Bhai,
So
I
I
think
don't.
Madison and Maguire were done very harsh in this. I feel bad for both of them.
I would,
But the
yeah.
fact of
I
the
mean,
matter is like,
I would say Maguire, the Maguire exclusion. Yes, I do feel that Maguire was hard done,
yeah,
but I don't think Madders was a bad pick when it comes to excluding him, because see, in the 2022 World Cup also he was picked, but then he wasn't
yeah,
given a single minute to play for. So that goes to show that he's how low he is in that pecking order. And now over here also, if you see that the likes of Anthony Gordon, the likes of Ebe Eze, or even Cole Palmer for that matter have been picked, I think you go to understand that he still remains quite low in that pecking order.
yeah. I mean, Matters had a bad, not a very good second half of the season because of
Yeah,
his
exactly.
post his injury,
Post
and
injury.
the fact that Eze can be a versatile player who can play off the left as well and is a brilliant playmaker in itself. It is fair then that Madison was the
and
one to
all of
get.
these and all of these players have had either a goal or an assist or any sort of goal involvement when it comes to the international friendlies
Yeah,
also.
yeah,
So
that's true.
there it's not like the players that have been picked have basically zero output when it comes to all
Yeah,
things said
yeah,
when it comes to all things said and done. So yeah, I think that
that's true.
could be a very decisive factor. Let's go to the next team. Let's go to Denmark. So
Yeah,
gone was that 2021 Euros high of crossing going to the semi-finals. It's just been downward sailing for Denmark since then. They got out of the group stages in the World Cup, and they had
yeah.
a very unconvincing qualifying campaign. Imagine winning 2-1 to San Marino. It might as well consider it as a loss in the qualifying campaign. So
It's
it
a
is.
weird case for Denmark. Denmark, I really like Denmark because of the quality that they have and now the experience that they possess with the likes of Eriksen and obviously their whole back line, starting from the goalkeeper. But
Yeah.
I don't know why their talent is not able to deliver for some reason.
Is it because of the manager? Because apparently there is a little bit of hushed disillusionment with the managerial situation at Denmark, in the sense that this being Denmark's most talented generation has still not been able to produce the results that have been required of a team of that standard when it comes to when it comes to Danish international football. Because I mean, you had the likes of Kasper Schmeichel, then you have Simon Kjær, you have Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, you have Joachim Mahler, you have all these guys who have been. Then you had Yusuf Poulsen for all this while who was there. So all of
Yeah.
these guys were good quality players, and they when they were expected to do a job, they've done the job as well. But unfortunately, or whether you call it poor game management or whatever it is, they've just not been able to replicate that form. at the highest stages.
I
So
don't know, bhai. Matlab, the thing is, I think the manager allegations are right in some sense because Denmark are not doing some things which are better for them tactically. I do not understand why does Denmark not play a 3-5-2? Play two strikers up top, man. They have the quality for the strikers. You have Hoyland, you have Skov Olsen, you have Jonas Wind, who's broken through with Wolfsburg. You have Yusuf Paulson, obviously, who's a workhorse for eternity. So, like, why don't you play a 3-5-2 with your wingbacks bombing forward? Because Mailer can do that, and they have a great defense and a midfield composed as ever. I mean, with the likes of Højbjerg and Eriksen over there, youngsters are coming through. So I think they just get it tactically wrong every time, and that's why they're not able to produce outputs. जैसे बंदे हैं इनके पास अटैक लाइन में, इन्हें सैन मरीनो के अगेंस्ट 3 तो मारने ही चाहिए थे एट लीस्ट. बट 2-1 कैसे हुआ वो गेम? मैंने स्कोर लाइन पढ़ी, मैं कहा ये क्या, कौन सी आसपास के पड़ोस की टीम से खेल रहे थे क्या हो रहा है?
Anukash, I am not going to answer this question. You're putting me in a
इसका
spot.
सवाल का
I am
जवाब
not.
नहीं.
Yes, I am not going to answer this question.
इस सवाल का जवाब इस समय मत दो भाई.
So with this Denmark squad, Piyush, do you think that this team has a chance of being the second place team in this group, or do you think that maybe the likes of Serbia or even Slovenia, for that matter, could have a different say in the matter?
सेकंड आएंगे कि नहीं ये तो मैं मतलब अभी नहीं बताऊंगा, ऑब्वियसली वो उसका सेगमेंट है. हम लास्ट में
But
प्रेडिक्शंस कर रहे हैं.
do you think they have enough to qualify?
हाँ,
Let's
but
put it that
I
way.
think, yeah, it's very iffy, bhai. Matlab, it totally depends on the manager getting it tactically right, as is the case with n number of teams in this tournament. But jo hai so hai. If Denmark is able to get it tactically right, get the maximum out of the likes of Højlund and Dolberg, I mean, you look at their team and you see talent all around the pitch, and you're just confused as to how his team is going on a downfall. So I think they should qualify. I want them to qualify, but at the expense of a team, someone like a Serbia or a Slovenia, I think it's going to be very tough.
Is it safe to say that Christian Eriksen is the beating heart of this team?
Yeah, he is the one that keeps them ticking.
Oh man, you did not get the joke, but okay.
Oh, shice. That was a dark one.
Okay.
Oh, shice. I didn't connect the heart at first. Jeez, no.
No, but on a footballing perspective also, do you think that Christian Eriksen is that beating heart, the fulcrum, the creative fulcrum of this Danish side? Because apart from him, I do not see where the creativity comes from. Højbjerg has had a very stop-start season with Spurs, and he's not exactly the one when you associate someone with creativity in that Denmark side. Joachim Mahler can do it, but even he's had a pretty on-off season. Damsgaard has had a pretty ordinary 2 years with Brentford, I must say.
Yeah.
So they do have the creative tools in there, but none of them are entering this tournament in the best of forms, Eriksen included. But still, do you think that Eriksen holds a very, very crucial role in how the Denmark team functions from an attacking point of view? Because we know that the defense is going to be very resolute. The defense is going to hold strong for as long as they can. And they've time and again proved that. They've had a very, very good defensive campaign. But it is the attacking side that there are genuine questions as to how the goals are going to come from. Like Dwayne has said, that Højlund is going to have a very big run, provided that how is he going to be complemented by the players in and around him. So where do you stand on this Christian Eriksen being the key creative influence in that side?
I think he won't be the one that has the sole responsibility in this tournament, because you have creative players in and around him, with the likes of Hjulmand coming through. I think he's one to watch out for in this tournament. He has been raved about for so long now. And I've seen him play. He's a technically gifted guy, and he's been linked to a lot of moves already. And then you put someone like a Matthias Jensen, who is also very creative, does extremely well when he's on top form at Brentford. If you've seen him play, I mean, he's a good creative guy. So it's not that Christian Eriksen has all the creative burden at Denmark, but he would certainly be an important player to be that bridge between the defense and attack that just creates chances for them, for the likes of Højlund to finish.
Yeah, that's absolutely. You've nailed the point on the spot when it comes to England and Germany are playing later tonight. I think I might have to watch. I might have to watch the England game to get a better idea of what is this guy going to play on the first
Yeah,
match day. So yeah, I might have to take a look at that. So coming to the third team, let's talk about Serbia. Let's talk about the Balkan giants. So one thing, this team is one of a fun fact. Basically, this team is one of the tallest teams in the Euros. No surprises there. With the sheer amount of physicality that they have, it's a
yeah,
surprise. It's not a surprise that they are one of the tallest teams in the tournament. But
yep,
Serbia come on the back of a very familiar problem that most of these Eastern European sides face. They have a great team, but there is a lot of toxicity going in and around the entire side. They have a great team, but their manager is not very respected in the country. They have a
yeah. I've
lot of
heard that.
issues with the manager. The manager himself is a very entitled, egoistic man, and according to him, rightly so, because he happened to be one of the best players that Serbia has produced ever, Dragan
Yeah, yeah.
Stojkovic.
Stoic.
Yeah, and he also is not a person who takes criticism well. So there is a lot of things going in and around Serbia, which is not exactly the best way to enter a major tournament. But again, speaking about the team, there is a lot of quality in that team. You have the likes of Dusan Tadic, you have the likes of Lazar Samadovic, who had a great season with Lazio. Then you
Yeah,
have Filip Kostic, you have Sergei Milinkovic Savic, who's almost perennially linked to the Premier League every single season until he
he's
finally
not coming out.
decided. Yeah, I mean, until he finally decided to go to Saudi, and then you have
Yeah,
Alexander Mitrovic, you have Dusan Vlahovic, yeah, you have Nikola Milenkovic as well. You have a really good side right there, but then
yeah.
again, it comes down to the lack of coaching, you can say, or maybe the poor tactics that the coach has generated. I mean, that would be the only reason why he's not so generally liked in the side, despite having a very good qualification campaign. I must say they've had a very good qualification campaign, but then again, there have been unconvincing performances in and around that run as well. So what are your thoughts on this Serbian side? Do you think they have enough to call themselves a dark horse, or I think is it a little too much to ask for?
I think the one thing I sense in the Serbian team, and I might be slandered for this, is a lack of technical quality. You see all the big lads in there. Milinkovic Savic, जिसको लगा यार बड़े नाम की टीम तो मिल रही थी, बड़े पैसे वाली टीम पे चले जाते हैं. Eventually, that was what he resorted to. And even the other players you have, there are a lot of defensive midfielders in this team. Someone like a Sasha Lukic, then there is Gudel who plays as centre back, Maximovic. There is not much creative input in this Serbian team when it comes to the midfield. All the strikers are proper number nines who attack the box well, but they cannot play out wide. They cannot add to that creative input and produce some output for Serbia through their technical brilliance. It is all about their muscle. It is all about their physical strength, which powers them through. That is why they might be a good defense. They may face problems if they go to the latter stage to a team which has pacey wingers, or a team which just overlaps the hell out of the opposition. They might face problems in that case. And because of that, I'm a bit worried about this Serbian team, because though they have talent, though they have the pedigree maybe to keep the opposition on hold, but I think not for long. They can't do it for long, and I see their chances in grave danger because of that reason.
So you're saying basically there are too many tractors in that squad, in the sense that
Exactly.
in the sense that they're all workhorses, but not a
Yeah,
lot of creative news when it comes to that finesse. They're lacking
and that
finesse
becomes a
in the
difference.
sense.
That becomes a difference, right?
Very
That becomes a
huge,
difference.
massive difference. Yeah.
When you're facing someone like an England, you're facing someone like a Denmark who probably play their ball out the back. You become helpless at a point of time because you do not have any
Yeah.
creative outputs, right? You don't have any outlinks for any sort of creativity. So that is where Serbia might struggle.
So where do you think that this entire thing could where so where do you think that this entire sense of the workhorse ethic that they have can be molded into a cohesive unit? Do you think that the manager has it in him, or do you think that the players have it in them? Because we've seen at the World Cup also that there was not a lot of harmony among the players themselves. Do you
Yeah,
think that this even do you think that they have it? Like, long story short, like, does the manager have it in them to create a cohesive performance out of them, or do you think that the players have it in them to maximize each other's strengths and cover for each other's weaknesses? Because teams like Serbia, when they are particularly top-handed in the sense that they have a select group of international names, and
yeah.
the rest of them are basically relative unknowns, how much can tactical astuteness take them, or after a point it obviously comes down to player quality?
Yeah, I think in that sense, now I don't know what the manager's situation with the players is. I won't be able to comment because I've not read much or
Same
seen much of
same
it.
here, exactly.
But I would say that two players need to take a huge responsibility for the Serbian team, and those two players are Kostic and Tadic. I don't know
Okay.
if Tadic has had any video calls with Jose Mourinho about how to be clutch since he has joined Fenerbahce now. But I would be interested to see how these two guys approach the game, because I see them as the only sort of creative outlets for Serbia. Kostic down the wing and Tadic in the inside spaces. These guys have to control the game for Serbia. And if these guys stand up, play to their potential, I know Dusan Tadic has had a good season with Juventus, and he would like to bring that form into international colors
Dusan
as well.
Dusan Vlahovic, you mean?
No, Kostic.
You just said Dusan Tadic, that's why, for Juve.
Oh,
You're
मैंने
talking
गलती से
about you're talking about Kostic, right?
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
talking about
okay.
Kostic. Probably Tadic निकल
Okay.
गया था, I'm extremely sorry.
Yeah, okay,
But
okay.
even I don't know if Vlahovic starts for like Serbia right now, because that has been the case.
It's a very difficult this is a very difficult side to pick, because you have three good strikers. One is
Yeah,
obviously Vlahovic, the other one is Mitrovic, and the third one, who we don't talk about much, is Luka Jovic,
Jovic.
who
Yeah.
somehow always is a different player when it comes to Serbian colors rather than the club football that he plays in. So they have three great strikers again, but it again comes down to who are they going to pick, or are they just going to say a fuck it and play a 4-4-2 and just play off it?
No, no,
Because
no. Bhai, I think they will play a three at the back. It is the best system for them. You
all
put
right,
someone like a Goodell in there, who has done it for Sevilla, and you put uh, two big boys of Milinkovic Savic or someone like a Maximovic in there, maybe Sasha Lukic. You put Kostic on one flank, you put some other Donny on the other flank, you put Tadic in, you put Tadic in behind Mitrovic,
yeah.
and that's
I
it.
think
That's
maybe I think maybe the Lazio guy Lazar Sabadovic also might have a role to play on the other side.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. That might be
if
that
if
might be
he's picked, if he's picked again, I'm not
depends on
exactly
the
sure.
manager's patience with
Yeah,
the players.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, and the last but not the least, obviously the team that is as rank outsider as they come, and that
Yeah.
is Slovenia. I mean, not exactly the best team in the shed. A couple of world class players here and there with Jan Oblak.
Sharpest ain't the sharpest tool in the shed.
Yeah, it ain't much, but it's honest work.
Yeah,
They are the epitome of that. Like, they have Jan Oblak, who's a great goalkeeper. They have Benjamin Sesko, who's again
yeah,
good in his own right. But then apart from that, not many names to. Oh, a very interesting thing. Josef Ilicic is finally there
yeah.
in the probables, which is nostalgia in a good way for us.
Ilicic.
But I don't think. I think for Slovenia is good. It would be better that they do not play on the nostalgia card more, and maybe keep Ilicic out of the 26 rather than taking him in the 26. I mean, at the end of the day, he's still playing for a Slovenian club at Maribor currently.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
I
But I
even
don't
though
know,
he's
bhai,
had a good
that
season,
that difference
he's
of
had a good
quality might be useful for them.
he's
You
had a
see,
good
there are not
season for
many.
them. He did score 11 times, and I think he has had 8 or 9 assists for them in the season. He's had a good
Okay.
season from a numbers point of view, but then again, I just see no, I don't see the point of picking someone in a major tournament, especially because of the fact that he hasn't played any international football for the past 2 years. Not a
Yeah.
single minute of international football. So that is again that is a that is a argument which goes against Ilisic's selection if at all they do pick him. Because I mean, not playing international football for 1 month is a different story, but not playing it for 2 whole years, where the team is not qualified for an international tournament again, it makes it even more difficult, especially when you're playing, you're making a comeback in another major tournament itself.
But I slightly differ on this because I think if you have someone like an Ilicic at the back, not necessarily on the field, but at the back, you have that mental strength. Even when you see an English
He's
attack
a
just bombing
he's a
towards you.
striker. He's a striker.
I know, but they can play him behind Sesko because if you see their midfield, there is not a startling name that just sticks to your brain that this guy is
Yeah,
going to be big for Slovenia. There's no one like that in the midfield.
correct.
Probably utilize Ilicic over there because Šeško obviously has the entire Slovenia's responsibility at this Euros. He has to score all the goals, otherwise he's not getting his transfer value raised anyway. So I think
Good
that
for
is
us.
obviously an overburden.
Good for United fans.
I mean, I know he's a target. I know. He's
Yeah.
very good, by the way. He's very
Yeah,
good.
he's very good. He's
Him-
excellent. He's excellent.
But
So I
you
think,
need someone
yeah,
like
okay,
that.
okay. Go on.
I was saying like you need someone like that probably in the dressing room, much like Conor Cody at the World Cup last time around.
For
He was good for the
vibes.
vibes.
For
Good for the
vibes,
vibes.
okay. For vibes.
Exactly. Good for the vibes. They're not winning a single game probably, but having someone like that adds to the mentality of the team.
Alright, so obviously there's no point asking the X factor for Slovenia because obviously going to be Benjamin Sesko.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So if you had to pick one for Serbia, who would that be?
Oh, okay. I want to say Vlahovic, but I know he won't start. That Serbian coach is just ignorant towards him. Let's say that. But Vlahovic has just shown he carried Juventus to a certain extent in this season. He's been tremendous. People rave about him for a reason, basically. And I want to see what Vlahovic does. But at the same time, I said those two players, Tadic and Kostic, they're going to be the creative outputs of the Serbian team and they're going to be essential for their campaign.
I think Mitrovic could have a big say. So I'll go for
Yeah.
Mitrovic. And he's also come off a season where he's scored the goals for Al Hilal,
Yep.
who've casually strolled to another Saudi Premier League. No surprises there. Yeah,
They went invincible, if I'm not wrong, right?
I think so. Yeah, I think
They
I'm
went
not.
invincible.
I've not really seen the Saudi Premier League table. I mean, I don't watch the league as it is. So.
I know. Leverkusen have been too much this season. People
Yeah,
are forgetting
exactly.
it.
Yeah.
They're invincibles.
So, and your key player for Denmark, I mean, apart from Christian Eriksen, obviously he's going to be the creative fulcrum of that team. But apart from that, if there is anyone,
I mean, Hoyland is the boring pitch, so I'll go Hjulmand. Hjulmand in midfield. He's had a great season. Everyone in European football is talking about this guy. Probably one more season, and you see 60 million offers coming in for this guy. So Hjulmand, I'll go for him.
all right, I am going to go for Damsgaard. I'll go for Mikkel Damsgaard.
You've butchered him, by the way. That he has not been good for Brentford.
No, because he's not had the best of seasons. He's been very average for them. Like you know the quality that he possesses, and he's a very very good player.
I
And
cannot forget that free kick, by the way, that he scored in the semi-final of the Euros, man.
against us only. So yeah. So I mean, there is genuine quality in the guy, but again, it does not help when you have two stop and start seasons at club level also. With injuries obviously having a part to play in his reduced involvement, but then again, no player likes a stop and start season. You either play the entire season or you don't.
Damsgaard का season पता है खराब क्यों हुआ है? Because of he has been forced to play in a midfield profile. Damsgaard is essentially a winger. He plays on the left. He's playing
absolutely.
well on the left. So like उसको उस प्रोफाइल में ना खिलाना, मिडफील्ड में लिमिट करना was something I did not like from Brentford's point of view. Probably they tried it and it failed, but yeah, I think Denmark can probably get the best out of Damsgaard.
Yeah, that is one way of looking at it. But then again, another way of looking at it is because he's been absent also. Like in the sense that if you have a look at that Brentford midfield, it's mostly all Danish internationals itself. You have Matthias Jensen, you have Christian Norgard, then you have Mikkel Damsgaard himself, and so most of them are all full-fledged Danish internationals again. So maybe the thought process behind that was to get him in and have that all Danish chemistry or whatever that could be, because again at the end of the day chemistry also does play a role when it comes to a free-flowing midfield or something like that. But then again, it's a twofold problem. One is a different tactical profile, and then again, his injuries didn't help either for him having a pretty stop-start campaign. So yeah, my pick is definitely going to be Mikkel Damsgaard, and I already gave my picks for England's X Factors being Adam Wharton and Kobe Menu. So the key fixture, what do you think is going to be the key fixture that could potentially decide this group?
It's too boring, isn't it? It is Denmark Serbia.
I'm going to go England Serbia. I'm
Oh.
going to go England Serbia. Yeah, because again, so like you said, a team that is physical, a team that is full of workhorses against an England side that is very susceptible when it comes to defense.
Yeah.
How
They
are
can
they going to
frustrate
how
That's a good
and
pick.
plus how is the England defense, who's relatively inexperienced, going to handle the physicality that Serbian front line possesses in the likes of Mitrovic, and whenever Vlahovic comes ahead and makes an appearance, he
Yeah.
definitely is going to come from the bench if he doesn't start.
That's true.
And then obviously you have the man mountains behind. You have the likes of Milenkovic Savic,
Yeah.
you have Nemanja Gudel, and then obviously you have Maximovic, and then you gave another name, I think.
Milenkovic is there as well.
Milenkovic is there. So yeah, these guys, and with the likes of Tadic and Kostic putting in the balls from the wings, how well will England's defense be able to cope with that? So I think for that particular reason, England Serbia is going
I think
to
we
be
might see Sean Dyche football from Serbia.
Oh yes, which is a very good style of football in its own right. Which
Absolutely
is yeah. So for me, England Serbia is going to be the game that decides this group. With that being said, let us go ahead and pick our group standings for this group, the final standings of Group C. But before that, do you think that there's going to be a third place team from here? I don't think so.
It is very hard. I think the third place team is going to drop points against Slovenia, and that is going to make them go out of this tournament.
Yeah, so I don't see a third place team qualifying from here. It's only going to be two teams. So with that being said, let's pick our final standings for Group C. Your group winners.
Yeah, England is winning this group. They're winning without a loss. They probably get all 3 clean sheets. No, I'm not gonna. That's a reach. England is winning all 3 games.
As an England fan, also that's a reach.
England is winning all these games, all 3 games.
Okay, and second place.
I recorded a video actually, and I put Serbia second. But now that I revisit the team again, I'm going to say Denmark finished second. I want to back the dark horses from eternity. So Denmark finished second.
And third and fourth?
Third would be Serbia. They do not qualify because Slovenia opened their account and finished fourth, sadly.
I'll go for the previous prediction that you did. I'm keeping Serbia second. I'm keeping England first. I'm keeping Denmark third, and obviously Slovenia fourth.
So Denmark go out.
Yeah, Denmark go out. I just don't see it. I mean, I just don't see it. In this particular iteration of the Denmark squad, I just don't see it. They have had a lot of players. They have had a lot of players who've not exactly played a lot in domestic football as well. And the fact that Højbjerg is one of those players and he's a key component of that Denmark squad also, just gives me a little bit of...
bothers me for Denmark, that how do they set up their back line? Do they go for a back 3? Because they've been fiddling with the back 4 as well in the recent friendlies. So I just want to see...
The back 4 hasn't really worked for them. I think
I want to just go
at
with
the
the
end of the
back
day,
three,
they're just going to do what they've been comfortable with, and that's play with the back 3.
Yeah, they have the pedigree for that. I think that is what they should go with in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's it. We've covered everything in this group. We've covered England, we've covered Denmark, we've covered Serbia, and we've covered Slovenia as well. So this brings us to an end of the Group C preview for the Euro 2024. We'll be back with Group D's preview for the Euros in a couple of days, where we'll be dissecting the teams in Group D another tasty group, of course, to look at, and much more to discuss. So if you do like what we are doing, do go ahead and show us that you like it by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and also pressing the bell icon so that you're notified for every video that comes out from the channel. Not to forget that this is just the build up to the tournament, and as the tournament progresses and as the tournament starts, there's going to be a lot of content that is going to come your way. We are also wholly active on Instagram. So do go ahead, show us some love, drop us a follow on the Instagram channel as well. We do a host of live interactions on our Instagram, so do join us and be a part of those as well. Thank you to all of them who have been part of the chat and given your honest opinions and feedback about this team and also the teams that are in question for Group C. With that being said, thank you so much, Piyush, for making your second straight appearance in the IFP, although this time without any controversy. And
There was not much about controversy anyway. This was a straight group.
Yeah,
there was no room for controversy anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So, with that being said, this is myself, Delwyn, and Piyush wishing all of you a good night. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we will see you shortly on the other side with another episode. Till then, watch this space. Farewell.